Lisa stared out the car window, watching the endless stretch of dense trees lining the narrow road. The GPS flickered, the screen glitching as the blue navigation line looped back on itself. Ryan tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "We should have reached by now," he muttered. Emma laughed nervously. "Maybe the cabin is playing hide-and-seek with us." A sudden figure appeared on the roadside, an old man waving them down. Ryan hesitated, then rolled down the window. The old man leaned in, his eyes dark and hollow. "Turn back. Do not stay in that cabin after dark," he whispered. Lisa shivered. The air felt heavier, colder. Ryan chuckled, brushing it off. "Come on, it is just a story." The car rolled forward, the cabin just minutes away, but something did not feel right. The car tires crunched over the gravel as they pulled up to the isolated cabin deep in the forest. The wooden exterior was old, the paint peeling and the windows covered in dust. Lisa stepped out, inhaling the cold, damp air that smelled of earth and rotting wood. Emma pushed open the door and it creaked loudly, echoing inside the empty space. The living room was covered in dust and cobwebs, as if no one had been here for years. A sudden thump upstairs made them all freeze. Jake forced a laugh. "Probably just the wind," he said, though his voice shook. Lisa's eyes landed on a mirror in the corner, covered with a black cloth. Ryan frowned. Why would someone cover a mirror like that? The front door slammed shut behind them without any wind. Lisa woke up with a start, the silence of the cabin oppressive in the dark of the night. She strained to hear, and then footsteps slow and deliberate coming from somewhere inside the house. Her heart pounded in her chest. Her breath shallow. Was it just the wind? Lisa slowly got out of bed, her feet brushing against the cold floor. She crept toward the door, her fingers trembling as she gripped the knob. Outside, the footsteps grew louder, then suddenly stopped. Lisa opened the door, peering into the hallway, her pulse racing. Nothing. The hallway was empty, the silence almost suffocating. She stepped into the hallway, her feet echoing as she walked, trying to make sense of the eerie quiet. Then a low hum began, barely audible, coming from the direction of the basement. Lisa froze. Something was not right. The next morning, the air in the cabin felt thick with tension. Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. As the group gathered around the kitchen table, Lisa noticed something odd, a small, worn journal on the counter that wasn't there before. "Who left this here?" she asked, glancing around at her friends. Jake frowned. "I didn't see it last night," he said, his voice uneasy. Lisa picked it up, her fingers trembling slightly. The pages were yellowed, the ink faded. She began reading aloud. "This place is cursed, and anyone who stays here will never leave." The words sent a chill down her spine. She read further, the journal revealing a history of strange disappearances tied to the cabin. As she flipped through the pages, one particular entry stood out. A name Ryan was written in bold, dark ink. "Wait, that's your name," Lisa whispered, looking up at him in confusion. Ryan paled, his face drained of color. "I didn't put that in there," he said quickly, backing away from the table. The room fell silent as Lisa stared at Ryan, her mind racing. Why was his name in the journal? Ryan avoided her gaze, his hands shaking as he backed away from the table. Lisa's heart pounded. The basement, she had to know what was down there. Without thinking, she grabbed the journal and stormed toward the basement door. "Lisa, wait." Ryan called out, his voice filled with panic. But Lisa didn't stop. She needed answers, and the basement was the only place left to look. As she descended into the basement, the air grew thick with a musty smell, and the temperature dropped. The basement was filthy, with old furniture covered in dusty sheets and boxes piled high. Lisa spotted something strange in the corner, an old mirror standing against the wall. She walked over to it, feeling a growing sense of dread. The mirror felt wrong, like it was watching her. Suddenly, the reflection shifted, showing someone behind her, but there was no one there.